airhawk.ca and get your AirHawk right now.
Time now to take a look at your national forecast. I'm Rachel Schutzen. You are watching the Weather Network. A very happy Monday to you. I hope you had a great weekend. We have been looking at some early morning storms across Winnipeg, dying down and then into the afternoon. Likely to see another round of that and even through the evening hours. This is where a lot of energy still lingers through Winnipeg and Kenora. Spotty, scattered showers across Saskatchewan. That still is in the risk for you. A beautiful start to the week in Vancouver. You're going to see lots of nice weather until about Thursday. That's when the next system rolls in, but gorgeous across the island. Victoria just sparkling in the sunshine today. And then for Atlantic Canada, the heat, the humidity, that's a big story for you. And we also have that thunderstorm risk within the interior of New Brunswick today. Enjoy the heat in Newfoundland because temperatures taking a dive after today. Now, as we look at southern Ontario, wow, the heat and humidity has been quite the story. We had a break over the weekend, but now heat and humidity returning with a storm risk. And I want to send things over now to Tyler Hamilton in our forecast center.
Well, these are some of the more compelling statistics. Yeah, they're compelling, but it was a dangerous heat event. Ottawa hit 36.9 degrees Celsius. That's your new all-time July temperature record for the airport. Muskoka Lakes, some of them as warm as the Gulf of Mexico, and Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, those water temperatures are pushing what we've seen over the past half a decade in both of those lakes. And Toronto strung together 9 consecutive days at 30 degrees Celsius. That ties the July record. So Monday and Tuesday we get a little relief from the heat, compliments of that upper trough, but by Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're back to feeling like the mid to upper 30s. This is our thunderstorm potential. Northwest flow, always a sneaky one. You see that through parts of southern and eastern Ontario. Tuesday looks to be a little bit more on the quiet side. Sure, there could be a storm or two along a boundary, but late Wednesday, an approaching front, which won't really bring relief to the humidex values, crosses southern Ontario Wednesday evening into Thursday, showers and thunderstorms. So drought conditions will be somewhat mitigated over the next 7 to 10 days with more moisture on the way across parts of Ontario.
Tyler, great explanation. Thank you for that. As we focus in on some of the temperatures today, Barrie 23 feels like 26, Windsor feels like 31. So the humidity today still manageable, in my opinion. As we go into tomorrow, Toronto feels like 33, Ottawa feels like 32. So again, this is just the start of the humidity starting to rise again. And as Tyler was alluding to, things are going to start to get really sticky, and you can see it in your local forecast. That's coming up in 18 seconds. Just want to show you the thunderstorm risk today for Atlantic Canada. That's within the interior of New Brunswick. That's a place that we'll be watching today, all non-severe in nature. And you can see the humidity. Wow, it's going to be sticky today in Truro. It's going to feel like 36. Now, your local forecast starts, and we'll talk about the prairies coming up.
You're watching Canada's Weather Network. To help you plan your activities in the coming days, here are the short and long-term forecasts for your area. upload your photos and videos, visit upload.theweathernetwork.com. Visit our new and improved video gallery showing you the latest weather news, viewer videos, and more. Only on theweathernetwork.com.
For Monday, July the 13th, this is the all-new Force of Nature Extended. This waterspout was seen off the coast of Bulli in New South Wales, Australia. This was on July 12th. Stormy conditions were forecast for the region. As a matter of fact, the low pressure system that was off the east coast of the country was expected to bring windy and wet weather to areas including where this waterspout was seen. Firefighters rescued residents trapped by severe flooding in the Sanshan district of Wuhu, China. This was on July 12th. Authorities said 8 residents were rescued in the area after water levels exceeded, get this, 3 meters when the Longwu Lake had overflowed. Look at that. High wind brought haze over Tucson, Arizona to the south. This was back over the weekend. The National Weather Service had already issued warnings for a dust storm, severe thunderstorms in the area. Winds were up and over 100 kilometers per hour, toppled several trees and left about 6,000 without power in this murky haze. It has been a busy season so far in Quebec for active, violent weather. This massive shelf cloud, which turned day to the middle of the night within minutes. Way off in the distance, you can see this shot from Granby. Thank you, Carl, for sending. Carl Brothier sent this in. You can see the what could have been a rain curtain, also could have been a land spout. No confirmations as yet, but it was in Granby not too long ago that there was already heavy rain. You've already experienced 50 to 60 millimeters of rain that took place in less than an hour. That was about a week ago, the days that closed out June, and they were at it again this past weekend. Oh, Twitter certainly blew up this past Friday when this came rolling through. Mississauga is just to the east of where our Weather Network headquarters are, and two of the centers of attention in this particular segment go from Mississauga to Milton. Milton is north by about as long as it takes to get to Mississauga. You can also get to Milton. This was very close to Burlington, Ontario. This is unconfirmed so far, but it has been suspected as a land spout, and that was determined by the fact that it was primarily just dust. But these videos were uploaded, and it was really tough to miss them on Twitter. Severe thunderstorm warnings were in place at the time, and there were several regions that had wind damage, the lakeshore area of Burlington, and also very heavy rain experience everywhere. Now, the wicked weather on Friday in Ontario. We also had this on Sunday in Alberta. When you have a large enough supercell or cluster of storms with incredible updraft to provide a shower of hail, you likely have the potential for tornadoes, and officials with Environment Canada have confirmed reports of a tornado near Nanton, Alberta. They issued the tornado warning for parts of southern Alberta shortly after lunchtime. This is definitely one of those weekends where if you're not sitting at home watching the Weather Network, you really wish you were working here because it was really active from Friday right through Sunday. These are the storms that came across the prairies, bringing this massive, and I mean, thank you, Shara, for this one, massive shelf cloud. And the rain did follow. This went screeching through the prairies. And after all that craziness of the first ever all-new Force of Nature Extended, we thought we would leave you with this tranquility. This is what happens sometimes after the storm, after the heavy rain, after the wind, and as a lot of people saw this past weekend in Milton as an example, after the land spout, not just one, but a double rainbow. Beautiful way to start off a new week.
On July 9th, 2009, at 8:20 p.m., this cell spawned an F2 tornado, striking Fisherman's Cove Resort on Lac Seul, a small lake near the remote town of Ear Falls, Ontario. The tornado tore apart cabins and other resort buildings. One cabin was found in the water. The storm killed 3 American tourists. It was the deadliest tornado to hit the province since 1985.
You're watching the Weather Network, Canada's destination for daily weather news and complete forecasts, delivering you context, analysis, and insight when it really matters.
Do you suffer? You must act now.
You're watching Canada's Weather Network. To help you plan your activities in the coming days, here are the short and long-term forecasts for your area. To upload your photos and videos, visit upload.theweathernetwork.com. Keep the forecast at your fingertips. Download the Weather Network app at your favorite app store.
All right, look at your national forecast. Upper level jet stream dictates that we're going to see that upper level low trigger some non-severe thunderstorms in northern Alberta and Sask, and then a ridge trying desperately to build into BC. Just can't seem to break down this pattern. You'll have a pleasant day in Vancouver Island today, lower interior likely today and tomorrow, but don't get too used to that. The dominant pattern is that trough in the west and ridge in the east. Speaking of that ridge, expect the humidity to build back into Ontario as we get into this week as well. Okay, so with the non-severe thunderstorms, you're looking at the yellow. By the way, that could also include northern Alberta. And then the red is where we're going to really watch for the severe weather. That's going to be from about Winnipeg over to Kenora. So big picture first, and now let's go into the short range models. The high res models are bringing in those storms in the afternoon from about Winnipeg down to the international border. We could see these line out, which means that the storms are going to kind of form a potent line, which means strong damaging winds rather than a tornado threat. However, we're not going to rule that out because we could see some of these rotate, especially as they are through southeast Manitoba. Kenora and Dryden, I think you're probably going to be looking at mostly a wind threat. All right, now we're looking at the eastern parts of the country. We're looking at the humidity building back in. So today, fairly comfortable for Ontario, non-severe thunderstorms, but into the work week, it's going to be hot and sticky. Not as hot as early July, but expect that. Now, Maritimes, you'll be getting a little cooler this week.
Among the familiar sounds of summer, a sizzling barbecue. But an increase in the use of outdoor grills also means an increase in foodborne illness.
The reason why we see an increase in the summer is because typically foods such as ground meats, like, that would be used in burgers, like hamburgers or turkey burgers or what have you, tend to be consumed at a higher rate.
More meats mean more opportunities for cross-contamination.
So the first thing is separate. So when shopping, separate meat and poultry from foods that will be consumed raw, like fruits and vegetables.
When thawing meats, make sure you do so in the fridge or submerged in water, which you should change out several times.
Room temperature is the temperature where bacteria like E. coli and salmonella that make us sick will grow.
The risk doesn't only lie in the food preparation. Cooking time plays a part in preventing foodborne illness too.
Various different types of meat have different temperatures. Hamburgers and any other ground meat have to be cooked all the way through. And the reason for that is because the bacteria could be on the inside, like in the middle of the hamburger. So they need to be cooked all the way through to a temperature of 160 degrees Fahrenheit.
It may be difficult to remember what meat should be cooked at what temperature, so a good idea is to purchase a meat thermometer, one with a label referencing cooking temperatures for different meats.
What about if you've cooked too much food?
Leftovers should be divided into small portions and placed into shallow containers. So in other words, don't place large amounts of meat into one big container, because the heat will actually take it a longer time to cool down.
Leftovers should be put into a freezer or fridge within 2 hours of grilling, but if it's particularly hot outside, above 30 degrees Celsius, then it should be placed into a freezer or fridge within 1 hour.
There's different types of bacteria. There's bacteria that will spoil foods, and they tend to grow at low temperatures, like 38 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Celsius. So those are the bacteria that spoil food. And then there's a bacteria like E. coli and salmonella that make us sick. They really only grow at room temperature.
And one more friendly reminder this barbecue season is to wash your hands before and after handling raw meat.
It's never been easier to share your videos and photos. Get connected, get creative, and get sharing. Visit theweathernetwork.com today. Join now and share your weather.